What's up, everybody? How we doing? Matt here with OddsJam, and FanDuel is offering this no sweat same game parlay for the Super Bowl. So I figured I would use OddsJam and find my favorite play for this no sweat SGP. Couple things to note before we get started: minimum legs of 3, so can be 3 or higher. The amount of money you can put on it, they will tell you. For me, the max that I can put on this one is $5. Now, I have seen people have theirs up to like 100, not 1,000, 100. So in terms of unit sizing, whatever is the max that FanDuel will allow you to put on, or they will refund, I should say, the max that they will refund is what I would recommend putting on this one. And then the only other thing to note is that the odds must be plus 400 or longer. So plus 450, plus 500 work. Anything below that number does not. And then what you need to do is just make sure you click opt in. So click that button here. You will know that it works when it says accepted up here. And then you go to bet now and it will take you to the game. So just make sure that you go into the game and that you click Same Game Parlay so that everything you are betting can be put into an SGP. And then, of course, you want to find value on these plays. Let me zoom in here. The play that I found to use an example of the type of value that we are looking for. In this case, my first leg is going to be Miles Sanders under 62.5 rushing yards. Now, I know that might sound a little bit scary for Eagles fans because of how good the Eagles rushing attack is. But if you look at where FanDuel prices Miles Sanders rushing compared to every other book, there's a pretty good value on Sanders at under 62.5. If you look at, take out William Hill because there's just a weird thing where theirs is being calculated at 89.5. You can ignore that. Every other book is at 60, with Pinnacle all the way down at 58.5. So it's from 2 to 4 yards lower on every single book, with some books that price it at 60.5 actually favor the under as well. Like Caesars has the under at 60.5, but they have the under as the more expensive play. They're favoring this going under. Same with PointsBet. They have theirs at 60.5. They favor it going under. So kind of no matter which way you're looking at it, this under 62.5 is a pretty good play on FanDuel. So that's going to be my first leg. We're looking at rushing yards, Miles Sanders under 62.5. Now, another really good value play that I saw was Jerick McKinnon over 22.5 receiving yards. Now, I know that the Chiefs just activated Clyde Edwards-Helaire when I'm recording this. That doesn't really scare me off. McKinnon has been a huge part of the Chiefs offense over the course of the season. Now, I know that in the playoffs, he's been kind of slowed down. Like, he had no receptions in the Jaguars game, which was the first time since like October that he didn't have any receptions. And then against the Bengals, he might have had 2 receptions, but for not a lot of yards. But the Eagles struggle defending the they struggle defending a receiving running back. Kind of a mouthful there. I want to make sure I said that right. So the Eagles do not perform well guarding running backs that are receiving options. So they can be had in the screen game, pretty much anything behind the line of scrimmage, because the Eagles linebackers aren't super fast rallying to the ball. The Eagles can struggle. So getting Jerick McKinnon over 22.5 receiving yards is very good value, as is the last play that we're going to go ahead and lock in here is Travis Kelce over 79.5 receiving yards. There's not much left to say about Kelce and how good he is. The Eagles, if you look at them analytically, they do perform well against the tight end, but that's not necessarily, they don't necessarily have the bodies for it. And if you look at the schedule, the strength of schedule the Eagles have had against the tight ends, it's not a murderer's row of tight ends. And Dalton Schultz had a good game against them, obviously, for the Cowboys. So they can be had by good tight ends. And Kelce is by far the Chiefs' best receiving option. There's really no coverage you can have for Travis Kelce. the best way to guard him is by pressuring him at the line of scrimmage. Be physical, get your hands on him. That's not something that the Eagles do. So the value is telling us that Travis Kelce is going to have a big game. So this is going to be my no sweat SGP for the Super Bowl. Sanders under 62.5 rushing yards, McKinnon over 22.5 receiving yards, and Kelce over 79.5 receiving yards. And that's going to be it. So if you guys are going to tail this, let me go ahead and lock it in. Comment and let me know. Definitely make sure to subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel, as we will have a ton of different plays and bets and everything you can imagine for the Super Bowl. So make sure to subscribe. Other than that, if you could like the video, helps me out a ton. But that's all I got. So appreciate everybody watching, and have a good one.